6 lucky numbers to focus and get millions. On the 27th of July, 2025 Buddhist teachings. Have you ever felt like you're working so hard, yet something just isn't clicking? Like you're giving your all, but life still feels a little out of rhythm financially, emotionally, even spiritually. What if the answer isn't in pushing harder, but in aligning deeper? In this special video, we're not just talking about luck, we're exploring 6 sacred numbers rooted in Buddhist wisdom that can help shift your mindset, your energy, and maybe even your fortune, just in time for July 27th, 2025. These aren't just numbers you chase for wealth, they're reminders of how to live with clarity, compassion, and calm focus in a chaotic world. Because true abundance isn't just about having more, it's about being more aligned, more mindful, more present. So whether you're searching for peace, purpose, or a financial breakthrough, this journey is for you. Let's dive into the 6 lucky numbers and the ancient truths behind them that could transform your path forward. 1. Number 8, bonus code for manifestation. Number 8 carries a sacred resonance not just in numerology, but deeply within Buddhist philosophy. It mirrors the Eightfold Path, the core guide to a life of balance, compassion, and liberation. This number reminds us that life is not a straight line chasing success or wealth, but a flowing cycle, rising, falling, resting, and rising again. When we chase too hard or force outcomes, we create suffering. But when we live in harmony with our own natural rhythm, true abundance, both inner and outer, begins to unfold. As the Buddha said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. The number 8, with its never-ending curve, also symbolizes the infinite flow of karma. What we put out into the world returns to us, multiplied. So rather than hustle to the beat of society's fast pace, slow down and listen to your own breath, your own truth. Each day, just 8 minutes of mindful silence can reconnect you with clarity. Each week, 8 genuine acts of kindness can generate ripples of goodwill that return in ways you don't expect. And each month, take time to write 8 calm, clear intentions, not goals driven by pressure, but aspirations aligned with your values. This practice isn't magic, it's mindfulness in action. Lao Tzu once said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." In our modern lives filled with noise and endless comparison, this reminder is powerful medicine. When we stop trying to force outcomes and instead act with presence and compassion, we align with the deeper rhythm of life. That's when abundance begins to flow, not just in our wallets, but in our hearts. Keep the energy of number 8 close. It's not just lucky, it's a guide to living wisely. 2. Number 12. The flow of purposeful living. Number 12 is more than just a number, it's a powerful reminder of the rhythm that flows through life, echoed in the 12 hours of day and night, the 12 months of the year, and most importantly, the 12 links of dependent origination in Buddhist teachings, which explain how our experiences are connected and shaped by our choices, actions, and awareness. This number teaches us that everything we go through, pain, joy, struggle, or success, follows a natural pattern, a rhythm we can begin to understand and work with rather than fight against. You're not just floating through life being pulled by random waves of fate, you are the driver. You have the ability to respond with clarity instead of reacting out of habit or fear. This might sound simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Take a moment to pause before you speak or make a decision. Ask yourself, am I being present right now, or am I running on autopilot? Strength doesn't come from loud reactions or quick moves. It often shows up in quiet stillness and mindful choice. Let me tell you about Michael, a man from Ohio who watched one of our videos just a few months ago. He had been feeling lost in his work and family life, constantly stressed and disconnected. But the number 12 struck a chord with him. Its symbolism of rhythm and flow reminded him to stop rushing. So, he started practicing a simple habit, pausing for 12 seconds before responding in stressful situations. That small shift changed everything. He became calmer, more connected, and he even said it opened doors at work that had been closed for years. Can you think of a time when reacting too quickly made things worse? What might have changed if you had paused first? The number 12 invites you to live with intention. It whispers, there's time, there's order. You don't have to rush. In a world that rewards constant hustle and fast results, this number brings you back to what truly matters: your awareness, your choices, and your peace. Let this be your reminder that even in chaos, you have the power to choose your response. That's not just lucky, it's wisdom. So today, carry the energy of 12 with you. Be still, be aware, and let your life unfold with purpose, not pressure. 3. Number 18. Turning chaos into creativity. Imagine this. Your thoughts are racing, bouncing from one idea to the next, and it feels like your mind is a storm of noise and distraction. But what if I told you that this chaos isn't a flaw, it's actually a doorway to your greatest creative potential? Let's talk about the lucky number 18 and why it holds such deep meaning, especially as we approach July 27th, 2025. The number 1 represents leadership and new beginnings, while 8 symbolizes infinity, abundance, and the endless flow of energy. Combined, 18 speaks to our ability to transform the monkey mind, the restless, overthinking part of us, into a source of innovation and insight. In Buddhist wisdom, the mind is not something to silence or fight against, but something to understand deeply. As the Buddha once said, "Rule your mind, or it will rule you." Instead of pushing your thoughts away, what if you met them with curiosity? What stories are they trying to tell you? What ideas are waiting to be born from this mental storm? Try setting aside just 18 minutes a day to journal or express whatever's swirling in your head, whether through words, art, or even voice notes. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me grow, or is it holding me back? This small act of mindful reflection can shift your entire energy. You're not broken, you're brilliant. All you need is the right channel to direct that energy. So, how do you turn your chaos into creativity? If you've watched up to this point, you're already aligning your energy with abundance and clarity. Comment below with lucky path to affirm your focus and welcome prosperity into your life. Don't miss out, there's still deep wisdom and powerful guidance waiting for you. Stay until the end to discover how these 6 lucky numbers, grounded in Buddhist teachings, can open the door to millions on the 27th of July, 2025. 4. Number 24. Slowing down to rise. Let's take a moment to reflect on the number 24, a number that carries the quiet strength of intuition and patience, 2 and 4 coming together to symbolize empathy, stability, and the kind of grounded presence that can weather any storm. In a world that constantly demands speed, noise, and performance, we often forget that true power doesn't always shout, it whispers. It stands still, it listens. The energy of 24 reminds us that slowing down isn't the same as falling behind. Rather, it's a conscious return to the present moment, where our inner voice speaks the clearest. As Thich Nhat Hanh wisely said, "Smile, breathe, and go slowly." This isn't just poetic advice, it's practical, powerful, and deeply needed in today's overstimulated world. We're often pulled in many directions, reacting more than reflecting, but when we pause and breathe with awareness, we begin to act from a place of truth rather than pressure. That's where transformation begins. To align with the energy of 24, try simplifying your day. Turn off the background noise, limit your digital distractions, and sit in stillness, even if just for a few minutes. Let your choices come not from urgency, but from clarity. What if your next big breakthrough wasn't in rushing forward, but in standing still with intention? This number teaches us that patience isn't weakness, it's a discipline of the wise. Just as a tree takes years to root deep and grow tall, your growth, both spiritual and material, must be nurtured with care, not haste. So, ask yourself today, are you moving from your center or chasing someone else's pace? Let the energy of 24 guide you to slow down, listen deeply, and rise with grace. 5. Number 30. 6. Freedom through inner truth. Let's talk about the power behind the number 36, a number made up of the energies of 3: self-expression, creativity, truth, and 6, which brings in harmony, responsibility, and care for others. When these two forces come together, they remind us that living freely doesn't mean escaping responsibility. It means aligning our outer lives with our inner truth. How many times have you caught yourself trying to live up to someone else's expectations? Whether it's family, society, or even old stories you've told yourself, that pressure to perform or conform can slowly chip away at your true voice. 36 invites you to step out of that shadow and step into the light of who you really are. As the Buddha once said, "There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path." That path begins the moment you stop pretending and start reconnecting with what genuinely lights you up. I remember a story about a woman in Seattle who had spent years climbing the corporate ladder, only to realize she was living someone else's dream. After seeing a Buddhist numerology video about the number 36, she began journaling and reflecting on what truly mattered to her. She remembered how much joy painting used to bring her. She didn't quit her job right away, but she set boundaries, began painting again in her free time, and eventually built a small online art business. She's now living with more peace and purpose, not because she ran away, but because she realigned. So let me ask you, where in your life are you just surviving instead of living? What part of you have you silenced to keep others happy? Use the energy of 36 to reclaim your voice without losing your center. Start by identifying one area in your life that feels heavy or fake. Then gently return to something that once made you feel fully alive, maybe a hobby, a dream, or even a person who sees the real you. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Surround yourself with those who lift you, not those who drain you. The message is clear. You don't have to live someone else's life. You were born to walk your own path, grounded in truth and guided by joy. 6. Number 40. 8. Power in steady stillness. Imagine this. You're working hard, day in and day out, but things just don't seem to be moving fast enough. You might wonder, why isn't it happening for me yet? That's where the lucky number 48 comes into your life, not as just a number, but as a reminder of power in steady stillness. In Buddhist wisdom, this number holds a deep meaning. The number 4 stands for foundation and discipline, while 8 represents flow, abundance, and the return on your efforts. When combined, 48 teaches us that slow progress is not failure. Just as a tree takes years to bear fruit, and the lotus must rise through the mud before it blooms, your growth is unfolding beneath the surface, even if you can't see it yet. The Buddha once said, "A jug fills drop by drop." This means even your smallest efforts, repeated with mindfulness, have the power to transform your entire life. Are you taking those small daily steps, or are you expecting sudden leaps? Sometimes, in our rush to succeed, we forget that true success often grows quietly through discipline, patience, and unwavering focus. When you feel like giving up because results aren't instant, remember that steady energy, like still water, runs deep. Instead of chasing after outcomes, ask yourself, What kind of energy am I becoming today? The practice here is simple yet powerful. Commit to small rituals every day. Maybe it's a moment of meditation, a mindful breath before meals, or a kind act done in silence. These are not minor, they are sacred. The key is not to rush, but to become the energy you're seeking. Life is not a sprint, it's a mindful walk. So, as you approach July 27th and focus on this lucky number 48, anchor yourself in patience and purpose. Let your quiet discipline be the foundation of your fortune, and trust that your path is unfolding, even if you can't yet see where it leads. Now that you've received the 6 lucky numbers, remember, true wealth isn't just about chance, but about the way we live, think, and act every day. Up next is something even more meaningful: the Buddhist way to financial well, being 4 gentle principles that can guide you to real success with peace and purpose. If you're ready to welcome not just luck, but lasting abundance, comment "Wealth with Wisdom" below. Let us know which number resonated with you most, and stay with us as we go deeper into the path of mindful prosperity. The Buddhist way to financial well-being, 4 gentle principles for real-life success. In today's world, success often feels like a finish line we're all racing toward: more money, more followers, more everything. But what if the real path to wealth and well-being isn't about speeding up? What if it's about slowing down? Buddhism, a tradition over 2,500 years old, offers a different kind of wisdom. It doesn't shout. Instead, it gently reminds us, prosperity isn't something you chase, it's something you cultivate. And the way you live, speak, give, and connect can shape your success more than any hustle ever could. In this video, we'll explore 4 timeless Buddhist principles that anyone, yes, even you, can apply to build not just financial success, but a life that actually feels whole. Let's begin. Number 1. Generosity first. A mindset that attracts, not repels. In the teachings of Buddhism, dana, or generosity, is considered the very foundation of spiritual growth and true abundance, not just materially, but emotionally and spiritually. But unlike the common idea that generosity means giving large sums of money or grand donations, Buddhism reminds us that it's not about how much we give, but the quality of our heart when we give. Generosity is not measured by quantity, it's measured by intention. In fact, even if we don't have much in material terms, we can still be profoundly generous. A kind word to someone who's hurting, a helping hand to a neighbor, a thoughtful idea shared freely with a colleague, or simply being fully present with someone who needs to be heard, these are all acts of dana. The Buddha himself taught, even with a handful of rice, one can gain enlightenment if the heart is pure. That shows us that what truly matters is how we give, not what we give. When our giving is rooted in fear, fear of losing, fear of not having enough, it creates a tightness in our energy. But when we give from a place of trust and inner stability, something magical happens. Our world begins to open up. Modern life often encourages us to hold on tightly to what we have: our time, our money, our attention, as if we might run out. But this clinging leads to scarcity, not just in our wallets, but in our hearts. It creates isolation, anxiety, and disconnection. Generosity, on the other hand, has a softening effect. It loosens the grip of ego, it invites connection, and it reminds us of our shared humanity. It might seem paradoxical, but the more we give, the richer we feel, not because our bank account grows, but because our sense of inner wealth deepens. As the Dalai Lama beautifully said, generosity is the most natural outward expression of an inner attitude of compassion and loving kindness. This principle applies to every area of life, including our careers and finances. When we're generous with ideas, support, kindness, or credit, we often build bridges of trust that last a lifetime. People want to work with those who uplift others, who give without keeping score, who show up not only for themselves but for the well-being of the whole. In fact, many successful entrepreneurs and leaders often share one thing in common: they lead with service. Not because it's a strategy, but because it builds real relationships, and relationships are the true currency of life. So how can we live this principle practically? It starts with something simple, something small. Offer your time to someone who needs help. Send a thoughtful message to a friend going through a hard time. Share a useful insight with a colleague without expecting anything in return. These small, genuine acts of giving slowly train the mind to be less self-centered and more open-hearted. And in time, they plant seeds that grow into unexpected blessings. As Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh said, "The most precious gift we can offer anyone is our attention." In a world that constantly pulls us toward distraction, offering our full presence is an act of true generosity. And remember, the effects ripple outward. You may never see the full impact of your kindness, but it always matters. Let's not forget that generosity isn't only about helping others, it transforms us as well. It teaches us to release the fear of not having enough, and it builds our confidence in life's natural flow. It shifts our mindset from lack to abundance, from isolation to connection. Over time, it creates a life that feels lighter, warmer, and more whole. So as you walk the path of financial well-being, let generosity be your first and most consistent step, not as a tactic to get something, but as a way of being that attracts the kind of peace and prosperity that money alone can't buy. Trust in this gentle truth. When you give with an open heart, life gives back in ways far greater than you could ever expect. Number 2. Mindful speech. How you talk is how you prosper. When we think about financial well-being, we often jump straight to numbers, income, expenses, savings, but the truth is, prosperity begins not just in what we do, but in how we speak. Have you ever stopped to think about how powerful your words truly are? In the Buddhist view, mindful speech isn't just about avoiding gossip or lying, it's about using our voice as a tool for connection, trust, and compassion. Every conversation is like planting a seed. What kind of seeds are you planting today? Are your words building bridges or burning them? Are they opening doors or closing hearts? Just like how a tree takes time to grow, the things we say now may not bear fruit immediately, but over time they shape how people see us, how they feel around us, and how they choose to support us. In a world full of noise and fast talk, speaking with honesty and kindness might not seem like the quickest way to get ahead, but it often is the most sustainable. Why? Because people remember how you made them feel. They remember if you listened, if you spoke with respect, if you took the time to understand them instead of trying to impress them. If you want people to support you, as the teaching goes, start by letting them feel seen, not sold to. This is especially true in the age of emails, meetings, social media, and endless networking. Whether you're writing a quick message, attending an interview, or chatting with a client or coworker, what if you shifted your focus from performing to connecting? How would that change the tone of your speech? Let's look closer when you speak to someone. Do you rush to fill silence, or do you listen deeply before responding? Do your words uplift, or do they compete? In Buddhist practice, the goal is to speak only what is true, kind, and helpful. That doesn't mean avoiding hard truths. It means choosing the right moment and the right tone. And in the context of financial success, think about how much your reputation depends on how people experience you. Are you someone others feel safe opening up to? Can they trust that you mean what you say? These subtle qualities, though often overlooked, can be more valuable than any business strategy. In fact, they are your strategy. Consider this. Every job opportunity, every client relationship, every word-of-mouth referral, at the root of all of it is trust. And trust is built, conversation by conversation, through sincere, mindful speech. So instead of just trying to sound professional or clever, try being real, be grounded. Let your words reflect who you truly are and what you genuinely care about. Don't be afraid to slow down, to pause before responding, to ask thoughtful questions that show you're present. Ask yourself, what kind of conversations am I cultivating in my life? Do they reflect the values I want to be known for? You see, financial well-being isn't just about the money in your pocket, it's about the wealth of relationships you build along the way. And the quality of those relationships is deeply shaped by how you speak. Think of someone whose words have stayed with you. Maybe they once encouraged you, or made you feel seen when you were struggling. That's the power your own words hold too. In Buddhism, this is known as right speech, one of the key steps on the Noble Eightfold Path. It reminds us that what we say either contributes to peace or takes away from it. And in the long run, peace is what allows prosperity to flourish. So here's your takeaway for today. Speak like someone who values not just success, but sincerity. Speak like someone who knows that their voice has the power to create healing, connection, and opportunity. Whether you're in a boardroom or just chatting with a friend, lead with presence, not performance. And ask yourself often, are my words making the world a little lighter for someone else? Because when your speech is aligned with truth and compassion, you won't just prosper, you'll help others rise with you. Number 3. Purposeful effort, work that feeds the soul. When we talk about financial well-being, most people think about income, savings, or maybe the dream of one day doing what they love. But Buddhism offers a refreshing and deeply grounding view that real prosperity begins when your effort is rooted in purpose. Let me ask you something. What if the work you do every day, no matter how ordinary it seems, could become a path to peace, not just a paycheck? You see, Buddhism teaches us to choose actions that reduce suffering, not only for ourselves, but also for those around us. Whether you're working in an office, managing a household, driving a delivery truck, running your own business, or caring for children at home, your effort has meaning if you bring awareness to it. The real question isn't, do I love this job? But rather, can I show up to this with presence? Can I do this in a way that adds value to someone's life? It's not about pretending every task is exciting. It's about recognizing that how you do something matters just as much as what you do. The Buddha once said, your work is to discover your work, and then, with all your heart, to give yourself to it. That's not just spiritual advice, it's practical wisdom. Because when you bring full attention to your work, no matter how small the task, it begins to feel more meaningful, more human, more connected to the larger fabric of life. Think about a moment when someone went above and beyond for you, not because they had to, but because they cared. That kind of effort creates trust, and that trust is worth more than money. Whether you're fixing a small problem, answering a client's question with kindness, or simply showing up on time with a clear mind, your presence creates a ripple effect. This is what I call soul-aligned work. Not because it has to be glamorous or creative, but because it reflects your integrity and values. So ask yourself right now, what part of my work this week can I approach with intention instead of autopilot? What task can I treat not as a burden, but as something sacred, even just for today? You might be surprised how much your energy shifts when you stop resisting and start engaging. One mindful act, done with care, can change how you feel at the end of the day and how others respond to you. And here's the beauty of it. Purposeful effort doesn't require a title, a promotion, or a different job. It starts where you are, with what you already do. Thich Nhat Hanh, the beloved Zen teacher, said, "When you walk, arrive with every step." That means we can bring full awareness and care to anything, whether we're sending emails, washing dishes, or planning a business move. In today's fast-paced world, many people feel disconnected from their work. Some feel like they're just going through the motions. Others chase money but feel empty at the end of the day. Purposeful effort helps us break that pattern, not by quitting everything and running away, but by turning our everyday actions into something more conscious. When you act with intention, even in small ways, you build something inside yourself: confidence, trust, dignity. These are the real foundations of long-term success. And over time, others begin to notice. Opportunities often come not just to the most talented, but to those who care enough to give their best, consistently and sincerely. So the next time you're about to start a task, no matter how routine, pause and ask yourself, what energy do I want to bring into this? That simple question can change everything. Because when you bring purpose into your work, you don't just work for a paycheck, you create something that nourishes your spirit and contributes to the world. And in that kind of effort, you find a quiet joy that no salary alone can give you. So here's your gentle reminder. You don't need to love every moment of your work, but you can love the way you show up for it. And that alone can transform your path not only toward financial well-being, but toward a life that feels whole and meaningful. If this message touched something in your heart, I invite you to comment below with just one simple word: presence. Let's remind each other that even in the middle of our daily tasks, we can choose to show up with care and intention. Just type presence, no need to overthink it. Sometimes, one word can carry a whole world of meaning. Number 4. Walk together. Why wealth is not a solo journey. When we talk about financial well-being, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we have to figure it all out by ourselves, that success means independence, that asking for help is weakness, or that sharing our struggles somehow makes us less capable. But the truth is, in the Buddhist path, one of the most sacred sources of strength is Sangha, the spiritual community. The Buddha himself said, "Sangha is not half the path, it is the whole of the holy life," reminding us that growth, peace, and even prosperity are not meant to be pursued alone. Whether it's a trusted friend who listens without judgment, a co-worker who inspires you to do better, or an online group where you feel safe to share, real connection is not just comforting, it's powerful. Think about it. How many times have you made better decisions because you had someone to bounce ideas off? How often did a kind word or a different perspective help you see a solution you would have missed on your own? Wealth, true, lasting wealth isn't only about what's in your bank account. It's about the relationships that nourish you, the support systems that hold you steady when life shakes, and the shared wisdom that saves you time, energy, and even money. When we walk with others, we're not only more motivated, we're more grounded. And that kind of stability is priceless in today's fast-paced, uncertain world. Now, you might be wondering, but what if I don't have that kind of community? The good news is, you don't have to wait for it to appear. You can begin creating it, one conversation at a time. Start by looking around. Is there someone you trust, even a little, who's also trying to live with more purpose? Invite them to check in weekly, just 10 or 15 minutes, to share wins, struggles, insights, or simply to remind each other that you're not alone on this journey. This isn't just accountability, it's nourishment for the soul. And if you can't find someone right away, start small by showing up in online communities where financial mindfulness, personal growth, or Buddhist-inspired living is being discussed. Give before you ask, listen before you speak, and slowly, the right connections will grow. As the African proverb goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. In a culture that often glorifies self-made success, it's easy to forget how deeply human we are, wired for connection, built to support and be supported. In Buddhist practice, walking the path with others isn't just for beginners, it's for the wise. Even monks who have spent decades in solitude come back to the Sangha for strength and renewal. Why? Because the presence of others can inspire, challenge, and lift us in ways we can't always do for ourselves. In your own financial life, think of the times when you've struggled in silence, afraid to speak up, trying to make every decision perfectly on your own. Now consider how things might have changed if you'd had even one person to share the load with, not someone to fix it for you, but someone to walk beside you. As the saying goes, you don't need to have it all figured out, just someone to walk with. And that truth applies just as much to your money life as it does to your emotional or spiritual journey. So, here's your simple but powerful takeaway. Reach out. Find or create your small circle of support. It doesn't have to be big or formal. It just has to be real. Invite someone into your intention to grow, not just financially, but in wisdom, peace, and compassion. Share your goals, your lessons, your wins, and your failures. Because in the end, success that's shared is success that lasts. And when we choose to walk together, we discover that the path becomes lighter, the journey becomes richer, and our hearts stay open not only to the destination, but to each other. And there you have it, 6 lucky numbers rooted in Buddhist wisdom, each carrying not just the potential for financial growth, but for deeper clarity, compassion, and alignment in your life. As July 27th approaches, remember, true abundance isn't something you chase, it's something you become. When your energy is calm, your actions mindful, and your intentions clear, the universe responds in ways far greater than numbers can measure. If this video brought you insight or inspiration, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss our next steps on this path together. Until next time, may you walk in peace, live with purpose, and trust in the gentle power of your own journey.